Hi everybody, welcome to NXTBLD 2021. Really pleased to be here virtually, but if you don't recognise, my name is Mike Leach. I'm the Senior Worldwide Solution Portfolio Lead for Lenovo Workstations, and I'm here today to talk to you about scaling remote and hybrid workforces without compromising productivity. Over the last 2 or 3 years, we've seen a big increase in the size of data sets, the complexity levels of workflows. Global talent now across all industries is bringing the need together for advanced high-performance workstations. It's a growing need, hasn't stopped during the pandemic, and we've seen this use case where remote workstation users, hybrid workforces now need to get dynamic access to high-performance hardware to suit and solve all of their growing workstation and sort of workflow pains. And it's not just the AEC industry, manufacturing, media entertainment, oil and gas, medical, life sciences, they all have a need. And we'd like to show you today a little bit about how you can actually enhance the productivity of a hybrid workforce without compromising productivity, without having sort of second guessing what your users might need, but maintaining productivity and maintaining your time to market. So a quick check of the landscape. Many users, mobile workstations are key, growing in all shapes and sizes, small 14-inch, very thin and light, 15, 16, even 17-inch powerful mobile workstations. For IT departments, they're simple and easy to deploy. They might be a little bit expensive if you go with high-end configurations, but the key thing is they're difficult to manage in the field, and obviously security concerns with any data that may be located on those devices. So hands up who's left a workstation in the back of a cab. Essentially then you might appreciate that those high value items are a little bit more difficult to manage at scale, especially when you have a large proportion of your workforce now permanently working remotely. We then move to more of a cloud, a data center, a DR, disaster recovery type model. Very resilient, very manageable for your IT teams, very scalable. They can switch on and switch off whatever hardware is needed at a moment's notice. But they're prohibitively expensive to deploy, especially from the ground up. And ultimately they do deliver very limited performance for those high-end workstation users. So the answer ultimately lies with a hybrid workforce. A hybrid setup, a hybrid infrastructure of desktop workstations that give the ultimate performance, so they're powerful, fast, agile, highly secure, highly reliable, but then you deliver those workstations to your users in a slightly different model than physically carrying those workstations around. But as we see, the world is opening back up again. What does your new normal look like? What's your hybrid workforce? What's the work ratio of in the office with clients, on-site, satellite offices, that sort of thing? How's your new normal now sort of dovetailing into the corporate's digital transformation strategy? Is there a digital transformation strategy? What does that ultimately mean for you? For Lenovo, we treat digital transformation as a means of using technology to enhance the efficiency of how you and your businesses ultimately get their jobs done. Starting at the top, we're looking at performance. Outright end users within the AEC space, performance is king. Faster renders, faster designs, faster structural simulation and analysis. That really, really does have a massive positive impact on the bottom line. We're looking at workforce productivity. Work is what you do, not where you go. So essentially then having that ability to keep your high profile job workers profitable and productive with high performance work from anywhere is key. We need to make them agile and healthy. So that's not just then, healthy IT infrastructure, but making sure that your workforce, those that are working more hours, more time in front of a screen with it, Teams calls or Zoom calls, plus the normal sort of CAD and design workflows, making sure that they're healthy in terms of use casing. And then reliability, scalability as your corporation or requirements grow. And then making sure that security there is key throughout. You can't have high performance if you don't have security to back it up. You can't have productivity if you've got issues there around reliability. Tortoise in the hare type approach, the fastest product in the world that's unreliable doesn't necessarily deliver great productivity long term. So we look at this across our entire enterprise portfolio. So that's ThinkPad, ThinkStation, ThinkCenter, ThinkVision, ThinkSystem, ThinkEdge, and even ThinkShield. Everything from security, performance, agility, even down to the healthy options at the bottom around ThinkVision with low blue light. So monitors that you're sat in front of for long periods of time, we've even gone as far as looking at those to make sure that you're efficient and your health and well-being whilst using the technology is obviously is of maximum priority. But obviously I work within our workstation business unit, so rather than talk about everything within the Lenovo portfolio, I wanted to just briefly touch base really on where we are with the desktop workstations. Since we were last here, since we've last discussed this, we've increased our portfolio breadth, the strength, the number of options and configurations within that. And then likewise on the mobile workstations as well. So with Thinkstation and ThinkPad P series, we now have the broadest portfolio of solutions, from very thin, very light to very powerful on the mobiles, and very small and very agile and very manageable and resilient, obviously high performance being key throughout here. As you move from left to right on the screen, the power, the performance, the flexibility of that hardware increases. That might be more power and performance on our P17 mobile workstation for high-end VR use. It might be our amazing P920 rack on the Thinkstation side for more data center type resilience. But I wanted to just pick out a few brief products which we've really enhanced in the last 12 months that can obviously help you guys and girls in the audience to maintain that productivity. First one is our Thinkstation P350 Tiny. So this is the 5th generation of that platform. The ThinkCentre is the world's smallest 1 litre ISV certified workstation for such a small device. So it's eventually at the size of 9 golf balls. But it's nearly 5 gigahertz in clock speed. We can offer up to 8 cores, 64 gigabytes of memory, PCI Express Generation 4, and it can drive 4 independent 4K displays. So it's a very, very powerful workstation, but in a very small footprint. So for those having to populate satellite, smaller offices, temporary work from home users, this is a very scalable product that can literally be picked up, put in your laptop bag, put in a rucksack, and taken home with you. We've also then complemented the desktop portfolio now with a refresh on our Thinkstation P620. So this is the world's only AMD Threadripper Pro workstation. So it's the world's single socket, most powerful workstation. 4.3 gigahertz, up to 64 cores, a terabyte of memory, 10 gigabit Ethernet, PCI Express Generation 4. Is a single workstation. This is supremely powerful. There is a dedicated session from AMD on this product as well. But I wanted to kind of just highlight how realistically this is a game changer in the workstation industry, allowing you guys to do so much more in so much less time, which is obviously really key and important at this time. Next up would be the refresh on our ThinkPad portfolio. So we launched over the summer Generation 4 of the ThinkPad P1, our thinnest and lightest performance workstation. Just 1.8 kilos heavy, 17.7 millimeters thin, a beautiful carbon fiber chassis, supporting up to the NVIDIA RTX A5000 GPUs in the ultra high-end space, and a beautiful, stunning 100% Adobe RGB calibrated 16-inch 16:10 display. So for those wanting to take all the performance of a desktop but keep it in a clamshell notebook style environment, very thin, very light, this can hopefully answer a lot of those pain points that you may have had over the last 12 or 18 months. But not just workstations, I wanted to bring in one of the ThinkVision monitor options here. This is our new P34W. This is a 34-inch curved widescreen display, fantastic 21:9 aspect ratio, 99% color accurate. But the key thing here is it's low blue light certified. So if you're using this for long periods of time, you don't get the eye strain. Very, very good there from a use case, from a user health perspective, supporting multiple USB-C devices. So this can now become your main docking station. Your laptop, your phone, your tablet, your keyboard, your mouse, you can plug all of this into the back of the monitor and then drive a workstation from here from just a single cable. So really that perfect all-in-one kind of work from home, work from anywhere type accessory that can complement a very high performance workstation. But not just monitors that can dock, we actually have dedicated docking stations. So for those that are a little bit more mobile or more agile, maybe moving from home, moving to the office, you have a multi-monitor type configuration. Using the ThinkPad Workstation Dock, you can now drive up to 4 displays from there. So the scenario on the screen here is 3 27-inch monitors in portrait mode, and then we've connected this to the Workstation Dock from the ThinkPad P1, so we can drive 4 independent screens. So this is really that true high performance productivity from anywhere, obviously capitalizing on the high performance mobile workstation that I've mentioned before. But we haven't just stopped at hardware. Lenovo is renowned for great hardware, but we've also got some great software partnerships as well. So I wanted to highlight here the enhancements that we've brought to market with Mechdyne and their TGX remote workstation software. So for those that aren't familiar with TGX, this is a software layer which we install on our workstation products, and this allows you to connect to any workstation, to any user, at any time from anywhere in the world. So for those high performance workstations that you maybe had in the office, maybe you've invested those in pre-pandemic, you have a 3, 4, maybe even a 5-year refresh cycle on those. You've invested in that high performance hardware, but it's essentially inaccessible in the office when users maybe need to be more agile working from different locations. You've tried to remote desktop in, you've got some sort of team viewer, screen sharing type environment in, but ultimately it's a poor user experience compared to when they're sat in the office behind their desks. So what TGX does, it's a software layer that brings you that as local-like workstation experience from another location. So you use a typical thin client device, laptop, desktop, very high numbers of configurations of user client devices can be supported. But you can now start to sort of collaborate and obviously work then across a number of different scenarios. So you can work in the office, you can work at home with contractors, with customers, and you can all now collaborate in real time with a shared workstation experience from one workstation. So in the office, pre-pandemic, when you used to collaborate maybe in one office, in a boardroom, design review, one workstation would drive that entire 3D data set. To now do that over Microsoft Teams or Zoom in some sort of screen sharing application does limit productivity overall. So with TGX, we have a unique collaboration feature which you can enable, so you can invite other users to take control of that workstation. So imagine a shared keyboard and mouse experience in the office where you'd physically hand those devices to someone next to you. You can do so whilst operating a Teams call, and they can have real-time access with an as local-like experience on that workstation. So real-time visualization, marking, annotations, updates, PDFs, 2D, 3D CAD, you name it. You can run any application through TGX and you get that true as local-like experience. And you can drive TGX, you don't have to have a workstation. Any type of client device with a Windows, Linux or a Mac OS license can drive the TGX receiver to port your workstation for wherever that may be located, in the office, in the data center, maybe in a different location altogether, different country, different continent, it really doesn't matter. You can use something even as small as our ThinkCenter Nano. So this is half the size of our ThinkStation Tiny, the world's smallest commercial PC. But something like this with an Intel Core processor, you can drive a pair of full HD monitors, and the scenario on the screen here is porting a high performance workstation located in a different country to a user working from home where maybe corporate IT don't want them to have large, expensive, powerful workstations. You take the workstation that you used to have in the office, you send the users home with a small ThinkCenter device that's pre-configured to access the network, and all of a sudden they get the goodness and power of a high-performance ThinkStation workstation without needing to take any of that hardware home. But we've moved beyond just the hardware workstations, the software infrastructure maybe to access and utilize those. I wanted to cover off immersive technology. So we've seen a massive increase over the last 18 months of the use of augmented, virtual and mixed reality solutions within the industry of AEC because of the massive productivity enhancements it can bring. And in line with the pandemic, it's allowed people to maybe collaborate and review designs in a manner where they hadn't done so before. So this was very much press the fast forward on the adoption of immersive technology. And I wanted to highlight some of the performance and product updates that we have in this space so that you guys have a full breadth of knowledge of what's coming down the pipeline. First of all, I wanted to highlight the Think Reality A3. So the Think Reality is Lenovo's commercial AR and VR business group. So we launched this at CES last year. We started shipping it early in the summer. And this is a PC AR edition. So this is a USB-C connected smart glasses. You plug it into any mobile workstation via a single USB-C connection, and it allows you to create up to 5 virtual monitors. So you use your normal laptop screen, but wearing the glasses, you can see up to 5 additional screens in front of you. They can be full HD up to 40 inches in size, and you can manage those like physical monitors from within Microsoft Windows, but use them in a virtual environment. So for those that still now have to travel, those that maybe work in smart office, hybrid work environments, coffee shops, smart desking, hybrid sort of hot desking environments, this is that ability where you don't have to reduce productivity because you can't plug into additional screens. And from a security angle, the only people that can see content on those glasses is you, the wearer. So shoulder surfing in Starbucks or on the train, in theory now you can start and be very productive in all sorts of new different types of environments. And this is a great addition, an accessory item with a carry case that you literally just plug in via a single USB-C cable. So if you haven't tried this, I'd recommend you take a look. It is a fantastic product. But not just PC AR, we've also launched an industrial edition of this. So it's the same Think Reality A3 smart glasses, but with connection to a Motorola G100 smartphone. So this takes the PC AR multi-monitor experience and flips it on its head, and we're now using these glasses for kind of digital sort of remote assistance, guided workflows, 3D collaboration, that sort of thing. So we have a full range of Think Reality solutions powered by our partner HoloOne. But essentially what you can do here is now start and send content to the user, the wearer of those glasses, to start and do sort of real world, design review type scenarios. So for maybe a customer, maybe you're on site, maybe you need to do some collaboration in person, you don't have that flexibility to do AR in other environments. So by sending the information through the smartphone to those glasses, you can now start and bring augmented reality to areas where it was maybe inaccessible. So again, highly recommend you take a look at the Think Reality A3. It is a fantastic product, brand new to Lenovo, brand new to the industry, and we're really excited of what this can do for the AR industry overall. But not just augmented reality, I wanted to touch base a little bit on what NVIDIA have done with their Cloud XR technology. So Cloud XR, for those in the crowd that haven't been following, essentially it's the ability to deliver VR and AR type experiences without the wires. VR headsets, VR experiences of the past typically were tethered to a desktop, a physical desktop or laptop workstation. And what NVIDIA have done now with Cloud XR is you take those graphical pixels from the GPU, that might be a workstation, that might be a cloud hosted server, but essentially then you can send those over Wi-Fi, over 5G to an untethered all-in-one device, and you can deliver high fidelity AR type experiences to users in the field. So for those that have a 5G smartphone, those that have the ability maybe with modern Android powered tablet devices, you can take those augmented reality experiences to users out in the field, maybe literally in a field if you needed to do so, but using a powerful workstation that may be located back at base, back in the office. So you can still use the powerful graphics of a ThinkStation, you can still use NVIDIA RTX GPUs, but ultimately you're sending those pixels wirelessly to a receiving device, obviously of your choice. So we support Cloud XR. The latest release 3 has got some really great enhancements. It is a full software development kit available from NVIDIA. It's being plugged into now a large number of sort of 3D visualization style applications. It's not truly plug and play today, but obviously we're moving towards there. And obviously there is some focus on Cloud XR as a delivery mechanism for the NVIDIA Omniverse platform that I know NVIDIA are going to touch on a little bit later today. So we support it with a number of third-party, obviously headset and glass providers as well. So if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to welcome and answer those for you. But Cloud XR is something that's really exciting for this industry of how we can now start and again get immersive technology in front of more people without having to worry about the physical sort of tethered experience. But moving on now to Vario. So we've touched on this before, but we have a global partnership with Vario, global technology and reseller partnership with Vario. We're really excited about what this technology, the art of what's possible within the augmented and virtual reality space. They've recently announced the new Vario Aero, a lower cost entry-level style headset with all the power and performance that you would need. And they're amazing VR3 and XR3 headsets. So using things like the Vario workspace technology, some of the augmented video pass-through and LiDAR technology of the XR3 headset can really now unleash not just the quality, the fidelity, the high resolution, the high viewing angle, but ultimately what physical design modeling and rendering can look like in the real world. So almost true as, photo rendered, 2020 human eye resolution. The VR3 and XR3 headsets are a massive leap and class above anything else in the market, up to 70 pixels per degree, 115 degree fields of view. And I'd highly recommend, if you haven't tried one of these headsets, then get on one of the demos that we have, take a look. These sorts of solutions, we can happily demonstrate these to you, but this is really changing the game of the quality and the fidelity of where, VR and augmented sort of mixed reality scenarios powered by Lenovo and Vario can almost replace some of the digital prototyping, the digital twin simulation style models that have always been a little bit maybe held back by some of the consumer gaminess of original, early stage VR. This is very much now photorealism, simulation, replacing the need then for physical models in that space. I can't finish without mentioning, obviously, Vario's unique kind of teleport technology, their reality cloud. So there's a dedicated session on this, and we can happily obviously open this out to anybody that wants further information. But using the video pass-through cameras now, being able to teleport yourself and colleagues to anywhere else, it is now something which is very, very exciting, where you can start and do, true collaboration in multiple different locations, without looking like sort of Darth Vader, games console style avatars. You can really start and obviously create experiences and create scenarios where, you can remove the boundaries of distance, and obviously high performance, high quality being key for Vario. We're again very excited of where this can take us. So demonstrations in the expo, we've actually got a lot of demonstrations out on the Lenovo booth, so please feel free to engage with the Lenovo team and ask questions. We've got a fantastic Aston Martin XR mixed reality experience powered by Vario. I'd highly recommend you take a look. And then the great new products, the Thinkstation P620, our P350 Tiny, and the ThinkPad P1 Gen 4 are all on display for you guys to take a look at, and the UK team can happily answer any questions that you may have. But I'll open that up to questions. If anyone would raise any questions, I can happily answer those now.
This will work. Yep, we got, yeah. Anyone got any questions? And can you hear me, Mike?
I can hear you, yep. Can everybody hear me?
Sorry. Small things, small things. So, anyone got any questions for Mike? You have, I know.
I do.
There we go.
I'll speak to you.
Yeah, speak to me.
Cloud XR, is there a difference in terms of user end experience, in terms of streaming from a cloud workstation, a desktop workstation, and maybe an on-premise data center? What can users expect to be the limitations in terms of latency? And I mean, presumably you're always going to get the best experience if you're streaming from a desktop workstation.
Yes. So ultimately, the experience is limited by latency. So depending on how the Cloud XR infrastructure is built, if you are streaming something from a cloud service provider on-prem or an on-prem workstation, the latencies will differ, and ultimately then the hardware behind that will change. So if you have a physical workstation in the office, let's say running an RTX A6000, and then you were to run Cloud XR off that single GPU over local Wi-Fi networks to a Cloud XR capable headset, then your experience will be very, very good. If you had that same experience, but then ported it via, say, a virtual GPU from an Amazon Web Service instance, then the likelihood is the experience would differ, just based on latency and outright GPU performance. What we would say is, because there's no one size fits all, and obviously the fidelity, the quality, the complexity of maybe that augmented experience, is it AR, is it VR, is it both, is to create a POC and figure out what works best. And then when you have something that's then repeatable and deployable, you can then build that maybe using on-prem hardware or off-prem hardware and obviously deploy accordingly. But it is a bit of a varying scale based on the evil that is network latency, which has an impact obviously on anything that's remote based.
You got another question? Or is there any other questions first from? No? Okay, go on.
It was really just a follow-up question on that. What are your customers doing mostly for remote VR with Cloud XR? Are they doing it from the cloud, or are they looking to maximize that performance or experience through local workstations?
Yeah, so Cloud XR version 3.0 is what's released now. Everything before that, you're getting new additional features are coming more and more. So Cloud XR has had this trajectory of improvement, even now with it being part of the Omniverse platform as well. Most of the customers that we work with, they've had early POCs, and they were basically done from on-prem workstations over Wi-Fi to maybe sort of tablet devices, just for viewing, just for that initial proof of concept. We've had the extreme now where people have, in the public sector space, they've got localized 5G networks on campus. So they're doing VR over 5G networks. But I think there's no one cap fits all. So depending upon that use case, we have seen a greater use of maybe the AR use cases within Cloud XR versus VR. But I think in terms of network availability, the latencies again from the cloud, not everybody has that local instance where you dial up an instance from the cloud. Is that coming from the UK? Is that coming from the US? Or somewhere else in the world? you need to make sure then that you've got the lowest possible connectivity latency. So for us, it has varied, but I'd say the biggest impact we've seen is with people using local Wi-Fi and then leveraging it from desktop workstations and then using the new Wi-Fi enabled, head-mounted displays.
Okay, I don't think there are any more questions. So, oh, we've lost Mike.
Aggressive answer, as things move on.
Okay, thanks, Mike. We've got no more questions, but thanks for taking the time away from your wee one, and we'll see you soon.
All right, thank you very much, everybody.